Hi, I'm Gary. Welcome to my channel. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today I'm building the Curtiss P-40 Warhawk in 1/48 scale from Airfix. If you enjoy the video, then you can support the channel for free by subscribing. Hit the bell to be notified of all my future content. And anything you see that you like here, please give it an imperial thumbs up on the like button below, because every like counts. Now, before we get into the build process, here are the paints and other products I've used. Right, in the cockpit, the first thing we can do is put the control column in. Sits in here. Tiny bits of glue here. And dab those in. Like so. Then we have the rear bulkhead here, and what appears to be the front of the fuel tank in the fuselage goes in here. Goes in this little tab. And it appears to just sort of sit against it at the back. Then when that's done, the tab here sits into this slot here, and the two ends here slot into these two bits at the top of these tabs. Again, let's get some glue into those. Let the capillary action of the parts being next to each other just draw the glue in. Like that, don't need to drown it. Then they have a seat. Now, there are two different types of seat and seat support. This is for the A scheme, which is the Pearl Harbor era aircraft. There's a slightly different, squarer seat for the Flying Tigers aircraft. Anyway, this is the right one for the one we're doing, the Pearl Harbor aircraft. Then when the seat's complete, it sits into two holes on the cabin floor, like so, and then into two holes in this bulkhead here, like that. So a hydraulic pump lever goes in like so. Now on the side wall here, the side structure here, we just put this gun breech in place. It just needs to line up with a hole on the bottoms of the tab and a hole that the tab sits in under there. There we go, like so. Now you see I've already painted this in interior green, then in black. I've done a quick dry brush of white over the top just to bring up like these rivets and the edges of the throttle quadrant and things like that. And then there's some decals that go on as well. All very straightforward stuff though. Then when it's all ready, the sides just sort of clip into place. And really, just like that. There's these little channels here on the sides of the two bulkheads, front and rear bulkheads, and they zip into there, and they just get glued in place. Another thing we have to do is put together, this is the exhaust from the radiator, engine radiator. This just goes together like so, and a bit of glue, and it is done. So on this half of the aircraft, I've already put in the rear sort of access door here. This would sometimes hold a camera, so there'd be a camera window there, and there's mounts. There's a camera which is part of the transparent frame. Obviously I'm not using it today, so it just gets blanked off. There's a tiny transparent part here as well for this little window, and so that done, I can put the cockpit section into the fuselage, and you'll see here There's a tab here that the tub sits into, like so. And there's some alignment marks up here and down here as well, tabs as well to align all of that. That's grand. Then we also, then the exhaust for the radiators goes in here. Again, there's some alignment tabs here and there which we will fit like so. There we go. Then there's the radiator inlet which go here like so. Again, just get glued into place. Then lastly, there's this propeller mounting that goes at the front up here. Just need to make sure it's the right way up. So the complete round bits goes on the top. That'll be like that. There we go. That fits in there. So with all that done, and do double check you put in the tiny little lights at the bottom of the fuselage before you do this, because you won't be able to get them otherwise. Then the two halves of the cockpit, or fuselage indeed, go together like so. Just tidy them up, tape them up, glue them up, and we're done. Next we have this little diverter plate. It goes in here. It's the inlet for the radiators. There's a diverter in it. It goes in there. Now that the front end is sort of constructed and pretty much in place, you have to take off these little tabs here, because we are going to put the gun mountings in here, or the external part of the gun mounting, engine cover and gun mountings. So just take our little razor saw to them. There we go. Let's assume we've got them the right way around, which I don't. There you go, that one goes in there. So here's the beauty of dry fitting. It's that we get these right eventually. There we go, they go in like so. Then when those are set, we can put the machine gun mounts there. This just holds the machine guns in place like so. They fire through the propeller arc like this, and there's one on the other side as well. Then on each side of the fuselage, this wing root fillet needs to go in like so. Okay, onto the main wing section now. Now, if you're going to be putting this on one of the Airfix stands, you need to drill out these two holes here. They are 2 millimeters in diameter. I'm not going to be doing that, so I can just push on with making the wings. And the first thing we're going to do is put in the top of the undercarriage bays. They sit in like so, and they help keep the rigidity of the wing dihedral going. So we just pop those in, then I'll probably clamp them for a bit just to make sure they stay in place. Then when that's dry, we can fit the wings in. We just slip them in at the front there under these cowlings, and then clip them back at the back there, like so. Then the upper wing sections slot in like so, and connects up hopefully with the lower wing sections, and that's actually not too bad a fit. There's a little bit of a gap here, but that's okay, and yeah, that's not looking too terrible. The horizontal stabilizers each come in 2 halves, and they have offset tabs so you can put them in the correct sides. The single piece elevator assembly goes in next. Then the rudder slots in behind the fin. The radiator cooling fans go on here. These open to allow more airflow through the radiator on the ground primarily. Keep the engine cool while it's running on the ground because it doesn't have the forced airflow through the radiator, obviously. I'm going to put the gun sight in now. Window, there we go. It slots into a gap at the top of the instrument panel, between the instrument panel and the top of the fuselage, like so. Then I'm going to start putting the transparent parts on. Now, these I've masked up. I got masks on the inside and the outside, so I've sprayed the insides first with primer, then with an interior green. I'll show you on the main part of the canopy. So that's before the masks come off. Then there's also masks on the outside as well, which have been primed, and those, of course, are just going to be olive green, olive drab, like the rest of the car. So what I'll do is I'll take the masks off the inside. What I'm going to do is spray this one olive drab and leave it, because what I will do, I want to have it open so the plastic part for the closed canopy can go on, because that's sacrificial essentially. It can go on because I don't mind if that gets ruined, because I'm not going to be using it. Put the rear panels in here as well, which are going to be used, are already masked. So then I can just tack that into place to protect the cockpit area. I can do all the spraying, then when it's done I can just take that off and replace it with the canopy part that's open. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how we go. Now, because this is going to be all over olive drab and neutral grey underneath, I'm going to do some pre-shading on these main parts of the fuselage and on the wings, the big sort of major panel lines. I'll do a little bit of pre-shading. Then when I go over with the colour, most of that will disappear, but just give a hint of the shading lines. I don't have a problem with this because this is a plane that's been flying in Hawaii for some time, and do you know what? The weather out there is really corrosive. The sea air and all that's very corrosive. So the colours aren't going to stay pristine all that long. So I don't have any problem with justifying, if you like, using pre-shading on this to give a more mottled effect to the all-over olive drab and neutral grey undersides. Now, I've done the shading, the main shading. Now, what I'm going to do is just do a little bit of marbling on the larger panels to give them a bit more character as well, just because they're going to be a bit weather beaten. So there we are when we finish it. The pre-shading always looks really too aggressive, but really, trust me, when we put some colour down on this, it will. You can control then the contrast by how much colour you put on top, and it really does make a difference in my eyes. Anyway, if you're doing, it's especially easy if you're doing an all-over single colour and an aircraft that's probably seen a little bit of service, or in a harsh environment such as Hawaii. It really works out nicely, but we'll see how we go. It's not to everyone's taste. I happen to like it. Next, I'll start laying on thin coats of neutral grey so I can control the pre-shade effect. Okay, we're now going to put the propeller assembly together. So there's a back plate here, and we just sit the propeller inside it, and then just dab some glue on there to lock that in. Okay, like so. Can also dab a bit at the bottom as well. There we are. Next, we have the spinner that goes on top. The front part of the spinner, anyway. So that's seated down nicely. Then the top of the spinner goes on like this. So to put the undercarriage in, the first thing is the main strut itself goes in here and into this. Here, I just need to, sorry, just need to get a little in there. There we go. It's nice and solid. And we'll add a bit of glue to that to keep it in place. Then the bracing arm goes in here and into the leg. And we just need to get this down into its pocket in here. There we go. Like that. Sorted. Then I can put the tail wheel leg in place, and I'll add the tyre next. While those are setting, I'll assemble the wheels. The hubs slot into the tyre like this. Then when everything's ready, I'll put the wheels onto the axles, then place the model on a flat surface to check the position of the flat spots. There's a very small inside gear door that sits here, and a slightly larger gear door that sits here. The propeller can go on as well, like so, at the front of the aircraft. We can add the gun barrels to the front of the wings. These are a little tricky because they're like a half moon cut out in the top of the wing. They have to fit in like that. It's a little bit just tricky just to get that half moon lined up at first, but it does go in. The exhaust stubs can now go in as well. We'll put a last matte coat on the aircraft, take off the masks on the glazing, and that will be our P-40 finished. So there we have the Curtiss P-40 Tomahawk in 1/48 scale from Airfix. I really enjoyed making this kit. I think it went together very, very well indeed. Really not all that much of cleaning up or tidying up to do. Paint went down nicely. Everything I tried with this seems to have worked out okay. I'm even really happy with the pilot figure. So all in all, a really enjoyable build. If you want a 1/48 scale fighter, American, this is a really, really good way to start, I promise you. There it is, and very enjoyable it was too. If you've enjoyed the video, please remember to give it the imperial thumbs up on the like button below, and remember also to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified of all my future content. Thank you so much for watching today. Hope to see you again on the channel soon. Take good care now, and goodbye.